Alright, kids, today is Tuesday, April 7th. And we're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to start our mental health unit. The thing with this unit is that it talks about suicide, it talks about depression, anxiety, and dealing with loss. But so if you have any issues or you feel like you need to talk to somebody, please reach out via my email. I will do the best that I can. Talk to your parents. I try to avoid this for as long as I can, but seeing as school's going to go for another month, we have to talk about this stuff. I can't just not talk about it. So we're going to be talking about mental health. Also, for those of you taking the test yesterday, the physical activity test, if your grade showed you something that was like an F, don't worry about it, because 30 of the points I have to grade, so it didn't count 30 of your points, so no worries there. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about mental health. Today, we're going to be discussing good character development and social emotional environment, how to create a positive social emotional environment. So one thing I want you to realize is in middle school, a lot of you kids worry about being liked. So that often leads you down this path to try to be funny, try to do things that may be a little bit rude, but will get you attention to make people like you. I'm going to challenge you. I want you to not aim so much for being liked, but to be respected. And when we talk about respect and good character, people respect people with good character. Now, you probably have friends that you like seeing, but you know that maybe they make some choices that aren't totally appropriate, whether it be screaming in the hallway, swearing, things like that. When you see that, I want you to ask yourself, is this person trying to get everybody around him to like him or her because they're doing these things to get our attention and make themselves seem cool? Because we're striving to be liked in that situation, not solely respected. Now, if you're going to strive to be somebody who's respected, you might want to shoot for some traits that make you polite, empathetic. And by empathetic, I mean that you hear what somebody's saying and you try to relate to them. It's not like, oh man, that sucks. When somebody tells you some bad news, you're like, oh, that sucks. You want to hear about my day? That's a little bit more along sympathy. When we talk about being empathetic, we talk about opening ourselves up and understanding how the other person's feeling. So if you want to be a respected individual, you gotta have to open yourself up and understand the struggles that somebody else might be going through. Okay? Respected people tend to lead things for change and lead things to a better thing. So when we talk about being an individual who's respected and you look at the history of people that people respect, they usually were a leader. They're outgoing. And not only were they a leader, they were a leader for a change that was positive. Like if we go back to the civil rights movement, and many of you should have learned about Martin Luther King at some point in your life, how he made a positive change for African American population and the voting rights and getting equal rights for both people of color and people of non-color. That was an individual who was respected because he did something. He was a leader for a positive change, and he was empathetic, meaning he understood the feelings of those who were put at a disadvantage, including himself because he was also a person of color. That is what it means to be respected. Whereas when we looked at our liked individuals, swearing in the hallways, just trying to do things for attention, trying to get everybody to like them, it's not really a thing of respect. So when we talk about good character, I want you to really think, when you make a choice, am I doing this to be liked? And if I'm doing this to be liked, is it something that everybody is going to respect? Is it going to make me a respectable individual, or is this something that people are going to laugh at and I'm going to get a bad rep? Because it's really important that you learn to differentiate between those two. Because if you don't, there might come a time when you get older and people don't respect what you're doing because you're not very empathetic and you're always making other people the butt of the joke, or you make yourself look really ignorant out in public. Okay? So when we talk about good character development, let's strive to be respectful, let's try to be empathetic, let's try to be people that change things for a positive. All right? How do we create a positive environment? So this goes back to that being If we have a bunch of good characters, respected individuals in the school who are trying to make changes that are positive, who are trying to do things that are good for other people and understand the feelings of other people, you're going to have a positive environment. Whereas if you have a bunch of people who make themselves really, really rude, who make jokes at other people trying to be funny, you're going to tear down the environment, and it's actually going to become a negative social environment. Excuse me. So, when we talk about positive and negative environments, I want you to think about this. If you were in a school where there's a bunch of insults flying, everybody's hating each other, your guidance counselors aren't talking to you, and your teachers, they're just not trying to teach you, they're just like, do whatever you want. You're going to be in like a negative environment. People are going to stoop to the lowest level. That's because everybody around you is being negative, and it brings down your mood. You ever been in one of those situations where everybody's just being negative and you just had a sour day at that? Or have you ever gone to something where everybody's happy and positive and you're happy and positive? That's not a coincidence. That's the environment you create. So it's very important that we create a positive environment. So how do you create or how does a positive environment improve our health? Let's start there. Why do we need to be in a positive environment? What does this do for our health? Okay, so number one, it improves your self-respect. If you're around a bunch of positive people who are encouraging, you're going to be a positive person to yourself, right? Can you imagine that somebody keeps making the same jokes to you every single day, so you start making the same jokes to yourself? That kind of tears down your own respect for yourself, okay? But if you're around a bunch of positive people who build you up, you're going to build yourself up. So being in a positive environment increases self-respect. Two, so provide support for positive behavior. If you do something good and people are encouraging you and saying, keep going, aren't you going to continue to do good things? More than likely, yes. Okay? Whereas if you're in a negative environment and people encourage you to do negative things, you're going to keep doing negative things. This is why positive environment is so important. This is why we have PBIS in the school. We're trying to reinforce positive behaviors. Okay? Provide support and encouragement. You need to take calculated risks. All right, if you're in a negative environment where people tell you you can't do it, you're never going to take a risk to try to do it. Whereas if you're around a bunch of positive people who encourage you to try and go for it, you're more likely to go for it. Even if you fail, they'll be there to pick you up. But if you succeed, you've just taken a calculated risk and you've succeeded at it. So you're more likely to take risks. So it encourages healthy risk taking. Allows you to correct mistakes, forgive yourself, and move on. Can you imagine if you were in an environment where you screwed up and everybody just told you how bad you screwed up? That does not build positive self-esteem. When you're in a positive environment, when you make mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes. And we remember at the beginning of my class, I would intentionally make some of you make mistakes so you get comfortable with it. Why? I'm like, there's not a problem with making mistakes. Making mistakes is how we learn. How many mistakes did Mr. Durano make in this video? Well, this is his 5th video, and he's trying to make sure he gets it perfectly right. This is the farthest he's gone so far, so hopefully he doesn't screw up at this point in time. All right? So, you're going to make mistakes, but if you keep trying at them, it's going to be better. Helps you be resilient, and we talked about resiliency, I think, at the beginning of the year. Resiliency is your ability to keep going no matter what stands in your way. All right, so some challenges happen in life and you're going to keep going. If you're in a positive environment, people are going to keep encouraging you and pushing you out there and making you keep going. Whereas if you're in a negative environment, they're going to tear you down and that's going to make you stop it somewhere along the lines. So positive environments bring resiliency. It helps you be optimistic. Positive attitude. If you have a positive attitude, you're going to have a positive day. If you're in a positive environment, it gives you a positive attitude. Optimism is a great thing. Reduces stress. If you're not stressed out about being made fun of because you have all these supportive people, you're going to be less stressed. Whereas if you're in a negative environment where all these negative people have all these things to say, it's going to make you more stressed. Helps prevent and reduce depression. If you're around a bunch of positive people, there's less chance that you're going to be depressed. Okay? Helps prevent feelings of loneliness and alienation and reduces the risk of psychomatic diseases. Psychomatic diseases are any mental illness, okay? So if you're around a bunch of positive people who encourage you, that's going to make you feel like you're more part of the group. If you're part of the group, being social increases a person's desire to feel less stressed and feel less depressed. When you're around people, and some of you may have noticed that since we've been in quarantine, that maybe you're feeling a little bit depressed, you miss your friends, you wish you were kind of back in school socializing. I know we say we hate school, but you probably hate online school a little bit more. I do. But neglecting that or ignoring that, when you're around your friends, you tend to be a little bit more positive, a little bit more happier. Okay? So we don't want to alienate ourselves, and positive environments tend to include everybody, no matter what their background is, decreasing the risk for depression and stuff. Excuse me. How do we create a positive social emotional environment? So what creates a positive social emotional environment? Minimize contact with people who put you down. If you're around a bunch of people who make fun of you for something that you're not very confident about, you either need to tell those people, and if they respect you, they'll stop. But if they don't respect you and they're just trying to be liked and be cool for the other people in the group, they're going to keep putting you down. You need to get rid of those people. Those people do no benefits for you in your life, and it's actually hurting your mental health, okay? 2, use positive self-statements if you're around a group of people who are negative. We are all around people who will eventually be negative to us. Somebody may say some mean things to you, and it's unfortunate, but unfortunately it happens, and sometimes there's not anybody there to correct it. When you're in that situation, sometimes you gotta build yourself up. Be like, I'm not this, I'm definitely cool, I'm awesome, I'm good. Use statements and tell yourself these things because it actually builds your confidence up. 3, spend time with a mentor. A mentor is somebody who can teach you how to do these things. So spend time with somebody who's going to help you get better at these things. All right. 4, join a support group. There's a lot of people out there who need support, and they join these groups. I know at the high school there's a bunch of kids that feel like they're alienated, that nobody likes the same thing they did, so they started a club, and then a bunch of other kids joined the club. So now they're all part of a group together. That's a support group. They're not talking about their feelings, they're just doing something they all want to do together. Can you imagine if you thought you were the only person who liked bowling, you start a bowling club, and then 5 or 6 other people join your bowling club? That's going to make you feel like you're all together, like you're not alone. So a support group isn't just something that we talk about feelings, it's something that everybody can be involved, and it helps improve your social health and mental health. People that are just supporting the same things you support. 5, expand the network of people who you communicate needs, wants, and emotions. Kids, it's very important that you have a trusted friend, and some trusted adults in your life that you can share your feelings with. Why? You want to share your feelings with them because when you try to hold feelings in and you try to hold all these emotions in, it's not really good for your health. All right? It makes you feel that you're alone, that there's nobody you can share with. So it's really important that you find some friends, and maybe a couple of different friends, who you communicate those needs with. All right? I have very good friends that live all over the States. I have a friend in Virginia that I talk to sometimes, all right? Me and him talk all the time. He tells me the good news that happens in his life. I tell him the good news that happens in my life. When we were in college, we were roommates together. We were just really good friends, and we respect the heck out of each other. When you have a friend like that, it makes everything so much easier. So if you can, try to get friends and try to find more friends that can help you and talk to you about your emotion, wants, and feelings. These things are really important. 6, give others social emotional boosters. You may have seen me do this in class sometimes where I'm like, hey, when you smile at somebody, they smile back. And then I'll just randomly smile at somebody until they start smiling and laughing. It works. When you tell someone something good about themselves, or you compliment them, they actually get happy. If you go around complimenting other people, they'll get happy, they'll smile, you'll feel good about yourself, and you'll probably start smiling. When you do these things and give each other, social emotional boosters, and you compliment each other, it's going to make both of you happy, okay? So that's how you create a positive social emotional environment. Other than that, nothing else we got to learn today. If you have questions, email me. And as I said, this unit's going to get heavier when we start getting into depression, anxiety, and mental disorders. So be ready. If you need to email me. For homework, No homework tonight. No homework. Okay? So, you're gonna post this lesson. Have a great day. Please turn in any work that you were missing. Thank you.